yeah, it's tough for them to see that, that they are, that they have the ability.
Mm-hmm. And my guess is that when you have this recorded story, right, because we're bringing a videographer in, when you have this recorded story about your belief in Indigenous women and your expertise and how safe you are and trustworthy you are as grandmother spider, that video is something when you send it out, you know, because I know you're having trouble with people calling you back. Maybe they'll call you back because they'll see you telling this story and go, oh, it's her. Okay, we're talking, what are we talking about? Digital literacy? Oh, okay, I'm in. You know? Because the story from the core night we're doing up here is not like your typical keynote. It's absolutely storytelling. That's the direction.
Excellent.
That we're going to go.
Excellent. Because I had fun with at Can Do in Quebec when I did my workshop. I had fun bringing out Grandmother Spider. And I thought, how am I going to do this to this professional group of people? They're going to think I'm nuts. But I thought, well, Indigenous people are storytellers, so I should be able to get away with it based on that. And then after I brought out Grandmother Spider and blah, 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 and I just said that, and I said I'd bring her up because, and I forget exactly what I said. I can find it and share it with you, because of the World Wide Web and her web, and we are all connected and yada, yada, yada. So in that case, they never batted an eyelash. And as a matter of fact, I thought I was going to get some kind of negative response in my evaluations at the end, and not one person commented on it. So
wow.
So I mean, it would have been nice if they would have said, "I love Grandmother Spider," but they all said that they enjoyed it. So,
and how we can leverage this so that you get bang for your effort is your assignment is to write the Grandmother Spider chapter.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure where it'll fit in your book, but it doesn't matter. It needs to be there. And so let's just play that out. Let's just play out if Grandmother Spider were in charge of your business, or not in charge of your business. If Grandmother Spider were in charge right now in these remote areas, what would she say?
What would she say?
Yeah, or do or no. And just pause just for a sec. I'm just going to let the kids know who are making dinner. Go ahead and use anything I've got on the stove. That's what the pasta was for. I can't hear you. Oh, it's not ready yet. It's cooked and it's really bloody. Doesn't make it not cooked. But if it's bloody, it's not cooked. Okay, well I would just, if it's, take a look.
What would she say?
I think it might not be ready, Chai. Oh, they're thighs. Thighs are pretty. Yeah, I would put them in. Just a sec, Sharon. Sorry, honey. I'm making sure my chicken doesn't give my kids botulism. Yeah, no, they're not. I don't think they're quite ready yet. I put them in for another. Yeah, almost. Yeah, just like another 10 minutes, just to be sure. Okay. And put that little lid back on it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry, darling. So yeah, so imagine Grandmother Spider. Hey, have you ever seen that Mr. Rogers clip where Mr. Rogers saves PBS?
No.
I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
Because it gives you a great example. So it's like, because what I'm saying is if if Grandmother Spider was Mr. Rogers in this place, where so what and just so the setup is Mr. Rogers, can't remember the name of him. Anyway, PBS is going to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes in front of Congress and pleads to them to keep going because of what Mr. Rogers means to the kids. It's one of the most beautiful public acts I've ever witnessed. So coherent and so in the so not grandstanding, like not when we think of making a plea to Congress, it doesn't look like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a regular guy in a sweater.
Awesome.
So I will send that to you.
Okay.
So Grandmother Spider, if she was making a plea, what do you think some of the first things she would say is? And this is more like point form, like you don't have to speak it like Grandmother Spider right now, but what comes to mind?
What is she pleading about? To keep the internet going?
It's going to be about empowerment, right? And it's going to be about what these remote areas need.
Well, she's concerned about bringing empowerment to the Indigenous, not just the women, but we'll start with women because back in the day before colonialism, most 80% of Indigenous communities were matriarchal. So
that's a great opening. What you just said is a great opening.
So she wants to, she wants to restore, she wants to bring back matriarchy.
Okay.
And she wants to help Indigenous women to realize their true selves. And you start by having belief in yourself. And what better way to have belief in yourself than to be able to take on a task and to develop self-esteem. You have your skills aren't very good, you have a shitty job, or you don't have any job, and you want to have it, you want to get some skills. Then you take this digital literacy training. What is going on here?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay. You take this digital literacy training, and before you know it, you've been able to find work. You're making some money. You're putting some food on the table. You're paying your bills. You're able to plan a little bit for the future, just all the things that we take for granted. And these women are now they're thinking, okay, so enough of that. I want to do this. And once you just cross that threshold of knowing that you are capable, that you're capable, you're not hopeless anymore. Like you're beyond, and not beyond hope, that it's beyond, like you've just like crossed this threshold, and now you are no longer a victim. You are so we're trying to bring these women out of, also, because not all of them are victims, but a lot of them are, and out of, from victim to victor. And
so here's what you just did. You totally just did it. So act 1 of your story, of Grandmother Spider's story, is the return of the matriarch. Right?
Yeah.
it used to be this, blah, 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 matriarch, and then you tell us what did it used to be? What does that mean? What was life as when it was run by the matriarch, right? And then she says this thing that you said so brilliantly. She says, you didn't say it this way, it's what I heard. It was get to work. Like what, get to work. How do we get there? How do we bring back the matriarchy, or how do we restore the power of the matriarchy? We get to work.
Yeah, we roll up our sleeves and on our 8 legs. And
that's what you said. Yeah, that's actually what you said. You're right. We roll up our sleeves. And you know what was so cool about that? Is it also all of a sudden made so much sense. You know how in our weekend, this last weekend, you always occupied, well, you and Amy always occupied, but more you, always occupied kind of the no nonsense about it, right? So it's like in your value system and in the way you simply process solutions, it's get to work.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, that's definitely because that's the easiest way to get to where you want to go is, just lay out a plan and get to work and start breaking it down and knocking your things off your to-do list. Before you know it, it's done.
So act 2 of your story is the value of getting to work, right?
The value of getting to work. Yeah.
It's how to get, well, it's not really so much how, because you're telling a story, but in a story, it's the value of getting to work, right? And all the obstacles about why we don't get to work. And then because you're talking about matriarchy, it's going to be about, why women don't get, why we don't go back to work, or how we've lost it. But then the third act, and this is the other thing you did so beautifully, is you said it so clearly. Your third act is eventually, after we got to work enough, we cross the threshold, is what you said. And when we cross the threshold into the new way of being, once you cross, and what's beautiful about that term of crossing the threshold is you cross the threshold, you actually don't ever get to go back.
Yeah.
Because you've crossed a threshold.
Yeah. So Act 1 was get to work. Act 2?
No. Act 1 is the return of the matriarch.
Return of the matriarch. Yeah, that's right. Act 2 is get to work.
Get to work. And Act 3 is crossing the threshold.
Crossing the threshold.
And I want you to do it from a storytelling perspective. And the thing is, Sharon, this is like your gift. Everything you've ever written from a storytelling perspective, like not perspective, but from a storytelling approach, is beautiful. You are such a good storyteller.
Thank you.
And I want to invite you, if your voice is better served reading it rather than speaking it.
Oh no, I'll be prepared to not, I would rather not read it, but thank you for that. I'll keep that in mind, but I think it's time that I, step it up a notch. So.
Because it's about, it's actually about getting out of the way and serving the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So so right now, don't even choose. Just know that you have that option, because you might be someone. I'm trying to think of in that one person show class that I took a couple weekends ago. One of the examples was this guy who did his whole show always behind a desk and always with notes. So almost like a sermon, really, like a minister, right? Like when I preach from the pulpit, I have notes. I don't always read it, but I have them there. And so I'm not saying you have to do this, but I just want you to know, like, because your written voice might be different than your speaking voice. And when you're storytelling, it's up to you. You're in service of the story. It's not about you. So Put that out, just putting that out there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Act 1, return to the matriarch. Act 2, get to work. Act 3, crossing the threshold. And so tell me more about our night. Where is it going to be held and all that?
It's going to be held at the Well, which is a really stunning but intimate yoga studio. But it's beautiful. It's like, it's white. Everything is, it's up in Artisan Square, where the chocolate shop is. And I think it fits like 50 people comfortably.
Mhm.
And it's just stunning. It's like, it's white and clean, and I don't know, it's just got this really clear kind of space, and I think it'll photograph well, and it'll video well. What?
Just had this thought. I just wondered if I should bring my extra legs.
You're adorable.
Have them pop out.
You bring whatever serves the story, sister.
No.
Oh my God. That's funny. So do you think that you can write a story from the voice of Grandmother Spider?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay,
I think so. So let me put something together, and I'll have something for you. We have another call on Friday.
Yeah, perfect. What time is it? Oh, 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'll have time to throw something together just to start it anyways. And we can go from there, so.
And so I have to go look at the notes again, but the idea is that you guys are gathering here on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then we're going to workshop on Friday. And then we're going to rehearse on Saturday. Right? And then we're doing it Saturday night. And then we're going to debrief together on Sunday.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And
so we're at your place all weekend again.
I think so. I'm not sure. I've got to figure out my kids, because we can be here. But if I can't make it work with my kids because it's Thursday and Friday, I think I can though. Then we'll go to Xenia or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's so much nicer in my house.
Yeah.
If we can, So I'm pretty sure I can.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and then I'm excited about it. I actually, when I saw that your first message about it, I was like, what?
What? Okay, and this is a story that you have 40 minutes on stage.
40 minutes. That's perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. I've done it before, but through Toastmasters, and so it's been a while, but I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
I know you can. Something I want you to consider when you go in to write this story is about Grandmother Spider, or from her perspective, is you have sent so many beautiful stories over. I encourage you to read through some of the stuff, or all of the stuff you've written so far, and highlight, how we do that practice, right? Highlight any of the pieces in there that jump out at you that might be in Grandmother Spider's story.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that, just hold on until my kids be quiet. I'm on a call, so quiet, please. Thanks, Connolly. So what I'm suggesting is the storytelling device. Imagine in your book that you have this opening chapter or closing chapter of Grandmother Spider. And we read it and we see it as a complete story. But then as we're reading the book, we realize, oh my gosh, she referenced this in that opening story. Oh my, right. Like, and it's like that idea of, it's not word for word, but like, let's say symbolically, the overnight in the shed, right?
Mhm.
So grandmother spider steps out on stage and says, "Ooh, it's cold in here. Oof, someone left the door open in the shed. I'm dangling a little bit." So and then it's that thing, that beautiful thing that happens in storytelling, that where the audience leaves and goes, "Oh my God, that shed was the same shed." And it happens later, you know? So that's also to help you so that you don't feel like you have to come out of and create something really clever, like out of nothing. Like, no, what? Tina's assigned me to write a grandmother spider story about what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the reality is you've already written the grandmother spider story. You're just going to collect all the jewels from it,
Right.
and
Okay.
you don't have to. I'm just putting that as an idea.
No, it's actually brilliant. Yeah.
And God, what a beautiful, when I think like from a marketing perspective, what a beautiful like way to sell your book.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's almost like all the things grandmother spider has seen, right? Grandmother spider's web that doesn't matter what hits her, she puts that web back up.
Yeah. I mean, she's a metaphor.
Yeah. And that is Indigenous storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
Good. Then, Sharon, you play it out even further. And when you get hired to do facilitation work, people synonymously associate you with grandmother spider,
Mm-hmm.
and they trust you implicitly. And all the women who are in that room with you represent all the experiences that grandmother spider has seen and knows how to hold these women because she's grandmother spider and she's been there herself.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
How does that, from a core place, I'm glad you got goosebumps. From a core place, how real does this idea feel to you?
It feels very real. It feels very real, very doable. And I love it a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
Can you feel freedom in it?
Yeah, actually, because before I was like, well, okay, I didn't like her role didn't seem as significant, but
Mm.
now it seems very significant, which is the piece that I feel was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I enjoyed bringing her to life at the conference, after that it was like, well, like I had her ready to go for my talk with one of the gals in Saskatchewan recently, and I didn't get a chance to bring her up, and I was just like, well, probably just as well, because I don't know how I would do that in this situation. But yeah, um, I do now.
Good.
Yeah, I do now. So
Good. Yay!
I know. Yes, thank you. As usual. It's
My,
good to be back on our calls. I missed them. So
yeah. Yeah, me too. It was so nice to have you in my house.
oh, it was so wonderful to be there. Yeah. Thanks again for that. That was awesome. Yeah. It was more than awesome. It was an incredible, magical weekend for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Just nice to have my friend in my house. Like, Sharon's in my house. That's supposed to be, you know? It's good.
Good.
Okay, so your assignment is to write the story, the grandmother, just a first run at it, a grandmother spider. Consider as you're writing it, if it just is pouring out of you, that it also may become a chapter in your book. And then the third piece, because I always like to give multiple ways to do this so that your creativity is free. Consider reading the pieces you've already written and see what jumps at you as important that might want to be woven in as symbols in Grandmother's Spider Story.
Okay.
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 All right.
That's it, sugar.
Have a good couple days, and then we'll chat on Friday.
Chat on Friday night, Friday evening. Okay, cutie. I love you.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.